Excuse me, I almost burped. It's the beginning of the show. Get ready. I'm coughing. There's too much pollen in the air. What's up, everybody? What's going on? It's Monday again, all over again. We thought Monday was done, but now it's back with a full-on Monday vengeance. You know what I'm saying? Monday has returned. It was not Monday, and it was glorious. And now it's Monday. Again. Right? I guess it's not all bad. The weather is delightful. I'll be honest with you guys, the pollen count out here is gone through the roof. The pollen count is obscene, you guys. I'm telling you, the air quality is not what I'm used to. And we also just got back from Oregon. I did the turnaround trip. We did the turnaround trip of the century, of the week. We managed to go all the way down. I'll talk about that in just a second. Just 1 second, because I want to give a shout out to Cheshire Cat, Sopoloco, Bentley Pascal, Mellow Moogle, Candy Overhauls, It's Nature Man, Rocky's Rocky, Alex Netternude, John Gonzalez, Stephen Law. Is it Stephen Law or Stephen Law? Unsure. Big D Smoke is here. The Fish Tank Barn is here, but then had to leave. The 186 Element. What is the... Hold on. Let's look this up. Element. I don't know that. 186. Let's see. Oh, it's a show. Directed by Bradley Page with Bethany Billy. Bethany Billy? It was a short film. Oh, no. It's not a TV show. It's a short film created for a university project. And after a few months of entering the short film into festivals... What is it, though? What is the Element 186? Unknown. Sci-fi web series pilot. All right. You got me. I'm going to leave that bookmarked there, and I'm going to check it out later. So, welcome to the chat. I wonder if it's the actual creator. That would be cool if the actual creator was in the chat. Or maybe you're just a big fan, and you're like, I wanted to name my channel that. That's kind of cool. Jessica Thiergartner is here. Lexi V, Jason R, Michael Wentworth, Mr. B's Fish and Things, Alyssa Bentley, Scott Schatz, Gerson, waiting to board the airport in Burbank, California. Great company. Oh, Gerson, what's up? Thanks, man. Good to see you. Fish Ion Tactics. All right. I like it. Fish Ion Tactics is always throwing the all right out there. I like it. It always cracks me up. If I see a comment that's just one word of all right, I know that's who it is. Let's see. Hopefully I said hello to everybody. Joel Gillett, New Mexico Aquatics, CJ Black. Oh, watching through the Xbox, and the delay is very distracting. Yeah, it's one of those things. We had to re-up the delay a little bit on. YouTube had to change their delay. They had to up the delay just a little bit, and on top of that, they also had to make some minor changes so that we could broadcast in better quality. Because I did realize that oftentimes, the show Like, it doesn't matter that much, like, if you're just looking at my face, like, this part right here really isn't that big of a deal, like, the resolution for it to look good. I mean, obviously, I turn on the lights and all that kind of stuff, and it's all lights, camera, action, that kind of stuff, but, you know, my face isn't really all that important, but I feel like when I go to the video segment and stuff like that, like, if that's not in good quality, it's a super drag. So, you know, like, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I don't know. Fish Eye on Tank Dick says that was YouTube stalling on your end. Oh, okay. But I still like the all right. It's like McConaughey, right? That's like the Matthew McConaughey, the guy who fights dragons, right? Is that his deal? But good to see everybody in the chat. Good to see you guys today. Now let's get into what I was going to talk about. I mean, I already mentioned that the weather is nice. It's the weather around here is. It would be difficult for anybody to be like, oh man, I really don't like this weather, because it's like 75 and partly sunny. It's not even like pure sun. My neck is killing me, guys. I'll tell you about that in a minute, though. You know, the weather's good, but the pollen count is pretty high, and I've noticed that that's a little bit, it's a little bit of a drag, but hey, it's one of the prices that we have to pay to have plants producing. You know what I mean? Oh, here's something I wanted to mention that is just straight up fish related. I was actually talking with the Sarah reps when we were in Germany. And one of the things that they mentioned there, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this, but the food is full. Like these little containers that you get, they're like full up to the top. I appreciate that. And I guess the reason that I just remembered that was I got to go get more ONIP tabs. So, and I was actually thinking, because I'm not going to be going to the Aquarium Co-op anytime soon, I don't think I'm going to actually be going there. I think I'm going to probably just order them and have them come to my house. Like, is that the laziest thing ever? But it's a huge detour out of my way to like go over there and get like fish food. You know what I mean? So, I wonder how much they are now. ONIP tabs. Let me see. But I ran out of ONIP tabs today, and I got to get more of them. And I was wondering how much they are. How much is the big thing? $21? Oh, that thing lasted me a grip. Oh, what is this, like a Corey pop-up? Oh, Corey has pop-up ads on his own, on Aquarium Co-op. If anybody's wondering what I'm talking about here, I'll make a quick link for it. Which, of course, it's basically a sales pitch, you know, because they're our affiliate sponsor. But I had that Sarah shrimp food sitting here, and I was like, oh yeah, I need to go get ONIP tabs. But I think I'm just gonna order them and have them delivered myself, delivered to my house, which I think is funny. I mean, I'm gonna message Corey later and see if he has like any at his house, because I'll probably be stopping by his house at some point. So maybe I can get him from there, which would be funny. But those ONIP tabs, like, I honestly, those ONIP tabs have replaced any kind of like general fish food. I don't know if you guys know that, like, when you have a fish room and you're feeding a lot of tanks, there's always a type of food that lands in this sort of, with air quotes around it, general food, which is sort of like, it doesn't really matter what day it is or any of that kind of stuff. It's something that you can add at any, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I didn't feed yesterday, I'm going to feed today, and I'm not worried about anything being specific, because there's just like a lot of goodness in those ONIP tabs. So that's what I would normally like throw in there. And even in my 240, like, I only need to add like two of those, like the bigger ones in there, which they break up and the bristlenose get in there and like start eating on them and stuff. And so I like it quite a bit. I mean, obviously I get some of the granulated food and all that other stuff, but I'm honestly just finding out that the ONIP tabs work really well with my water and my aquariums and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy with just utilizing those as sort of the general food. You know, because like when I got the big one, I mean, I could use this. I could use this as a general too. The GVG. This stuff is pretty good. And look at that. This one is like filled up to the top too. So I'll probably use this while I don't have the any of the ONIP tabs. But honestly, like with my water and like doing water changes and that kind of stuff, like I didn't notice any kind of like weird fluctuations, you know, like ammonia or anything weird like that going on by feeding the ONIP tabs. And a bunch of the fish in there are all breeding and stuff. So it seems like they're getting what they need, and they look good and they look healthy, and I haven't been getting sick fish or anything like that. Obviously, like with the puffers and stuff, I do need to feed snails and things like that, which is how I figured out that the bristlenose love the snail sticks. So if I put snail sticks in the tank, the bristlenose go buck wild on those for whatever reason. I would have to look at like what's the protein content and all that kind of stuff to like kind of figure it out, which I haven't done. That's a little too in depth for me. I'm sort of like I put my trust in a couple of food companies and just kind of run with it. Like I just don't think that it needs to be that super confusing at this point. And also, like if I'm feeding the bristlenose and I just feed him some zucchini, I kind of know where like the zucchini came from and stuff like that. So that's pretty easy to just sort out. You know, if I'm feeding veggies and stuff to those guys, and obviously like the puffers, it's if I have enough snails and I'm making enough snails, then I feed them snails, and you know that's all pretty simple. Something popped up. Oh, sorry, I thought I had a pop-up for a new member. Never mind, that was like old or something. I'm not 100% sure what that was. What did I see? I don't know. Apparently I'm seeing things. It must be Monday, you guys. Let's see. Karen Pepe, what's a good sinking food for large, fancy goldfish? Man, it has been a really long time since I've had goldfish. And I can't remember. Let me look real quick. See if I can get like a glimmer of remembrance here. Goldfish. Let's see if I can't look this up. So, Hikari Gold. Yeah, that does kind of pop up. That the Hikari Gold is quite good. Rapashi does the Super Gold. That one's good. I've used both of those, and they've worked really well. The Hikari Gold is like for koi, you know, but it's the same. You know, you're basically like the same feeding schedule, basically. Like it's really like the same food for goldfish and koi. It's not that far off. Let me get you a link here, because the Rapashi. So I'm not saying that I would like always recommend Rapashi, but I trust Rapashi foods. I do use like 2 of them in my fish room, so I use some of the Soylent Green and one of the other ones, which I can't remember off the top of my head. But so my bamboo shrimp, I use the I think it's called Soylent Green, right? Let me double check. So I'm not Soylent Green. Nope, that's not it. That's not what I'm feeding the bamboo shrimp. Hold on. I'm getting the names mixed up. Rapashi. Let me see here. Oh, Super Green. That's the one I'm feeding. It has a different label now, though. That's pretty fun. But the cool thing about Rapashi is that you get oops, can't make a thing for it if it doesn't let me do it. There we go. All right, load. Okay, copy. Yeah, and paste. Okay, paste. There we go. So One of the really cool things about Repashy is you get to make as much food. So you do get that like 6-ounce container, but you're going to make it into a whole bunch of, essentially, it comes out like Jello. It's like basically making Jello. You heat up boiled water, add that in, mix it up, drop it into the little trays, and you can make all these little food, like kind of Jello molds out of it, and it goes a really long time. Just from that like 6-ounce bottle, you make tons and tons and tons of food out of it. So it's basically, I don't know that if it's like freeze dried, everything that goes in it's freeze dried and broken down, and then they add a little bit of some kind of gelatin that's safe, and then you just make like I said, those little Jello molds, and you get a ton of it. But as I mentioned, so the bamboo shrimp, pretty much exclusively off of Repashy these days, mainly because I can get a small amount of it, and I can feed it into the pump that is the return pump in the tank, right? So all of the filter feeder shrimp that are up there are essentially filter feeding from the return pump from down below, from the sump down below. The return pump's just blowing back into the tank. I can feed the Repashy into the pump down below, and then it will disperse it throughout the whole tank so that all the filter feeders can essentially just grab what they're trying to get. So that's what I would, that's what I go with my bamboo shrimp. And then if I was trying to do something for goldfish, I would probably go with that Repashy for sure. Really well designed, good quality food, or the Hikari if you wanted to go with something that was like just a dry pellet kind of deal that does sink. But I know that goldfish like ONIP tabs. I think it's just like almost everything in your aquarium would eat ONIP tabs, I think, if they got the chance. Let me see what's going on here. Stinging nettles for shrimp. Yeah, you can definitely do that. I don't do that because I don't like dealing with nettles. But it is good for them, yeah. Favorite shrimp-specific food? It just depends on the shrimp. So I do have a few. So I would say that like shrimp foods are what I have lots and lots of different kinds of. If I had to say a specific shrimp food that I would go for, would probably be like Shrimp King Complete. Is probably my favorite. That is really easy to use for just about anybody and any fish out there. And I'm not seeing a link for it. I don't know why. I'm not seeing a link for it, but the Shrimp King Complete, I really like that one. I also like the, I like this one, the Sarah shrimp granules. Those are quite good. I think I've used a whole thing on those. And the Shirakura shrimp food is quite good. I've never used Hikari's shrimp cuisine. I've never used it before, but I assume that it's probably pretty good. There's just so many good ones out there, but I would think that like the easy one to get would be the Sarah, and it seems to be like the most economical because what is this one? This is the little, yeah. So this one's like 1.9 ounces, and I wouldn't use this as my only food. As far as shrimps go, I think it's best to alternate food as much as possible. But considering that like this little container right here is like $5.99, it's gonna last a long time. So because shrimp don't eat that much, you know what I mean? So it's just really not that much food that they need. And so I would start out with that if you're going for some shrimp food. Find a couple other ones and then just alternate when you're feeding, and you'll probably be fine. There's just so many brands out there that make good food now. I'm just not, I'm just not that like freaked out about it. Obviously you want to add catappa leaves, almond leaves, any kind of you want to make sure that you have infusoria and stuff like that in your tank. So you want to make sure that you have moss and all that kind of stuff, and it's going to be pretty easy from there. I just pretty much supplementally feed, that I know if they're out there super grazing and stuff like that, that I just make sure that I'm adding a little bit of foods and just keep it alternating, not just adding the same one in there all the time. UG Aquatics. Excuse me. Yeah, I feel like 3 foods in my entire collection of fish: tropical granules, omega-1 bottom feeder pellets, and omega-1 veggie rounds. Yeah, see, that's pretty good. If you have a good, a bit of a variety of foods, you're going to be generally fine. Something to do about nothing. Thoughts on omega-1 foods? My local fish store just began to stock them. Omega-1's not bad. Like I said, there's a lot of good food companies out there. I don't think there's any reason, there's no reason from my end, like where I'm at, where I'd be like, oh, those guys are terrible or whatnot. It's been a long time since I've used omega-1 stuff, so it would be really difficult for me to say like, oh, I had a terrible experience with them or not. Realistically, as far as like my experience with that, sort of just okay, yeah, it's probably fine. Aquagali says, I feed my cherry shrimp chlorella powder supplementally, very affordable. Yeah, agreed. I would agree with that. And obviously, like, I recommend people to buy stuff from Aquarium Co-op because, they're an affiliate sponsor. So yeah, like, cool. But if you are gonna find stuff somewhere else, and you find a better price or whatever, or you get better customer service or any of that kind of stuff, feel free, go that route. It's all good. There just really aren't that many foods out there that I would say are just terrible at this point. You know what I mean? So, Ricardo Santiago, hey, just getting home from doing blow-in insulation. What did I miss, and who won the care package? Oh, we haven't gotten to that yet. We should do the care package giveaway here because there are 2 of them. So let's start out. Let's do the first one. So we have, what do we got here? So I did the random comment selector, and I have no idea who hosts the site or anything like that, but just plugged it in there, did the random comment selector, and then took a screenshot of it. And I did it much earlier today. And because I wanted to do it over the weekend, we didn't have time. We went all the way down to Eugene and stuff like that. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But let's just sneak a little picture up here and see if you all can even read it. I think we got to make it bigger. And there we go. So that'll be our first winner of the giveaway. So, if you happen to see your name up there, it's HDJC86, won one of the care packages. So if you see your name up there, don't put your address in the chat. Send your address into either one of the moderators or Joel at darkstararts.com, because no one has an email on their YouTube page anymore, which is problematic because I used to be able to email people from their info and about me, but I can't find them now. So send me an email, let me know, and I will send those off. One of the other winners I saw in the chat today already. So let's see, Joel, can you please discuss alternate Ranechii care and requirements, how to trim it? Yeah, I can do that. It's in the video today, so that's not going to be a problem. I'll hang around for the video. David Gilkinson is here. Oh, not me. Hey, like I said, I put it into the random pick, so it's not about who I want to win or who I didn't want to win or anything like that. But hopefully they're in the U.S. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem. But it should be fun. A whole bunch of fun stuff going in that box, so I'm pretty excited about that one. Should be fun. Rochelle is here. What's up, Rochelle? Good to see you. Mellow Moogle says, "Please do not post your address into the chat." Yes, that's not a good idea. I wonder if can you direct message into the chat? Oh no, you can't. Nope, you can't. There's no direct messaging in the chat, which I don't know. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad that we can't do that. We used to be able to direct message on YouTube, but they took that away. I don't know why. I mean, I think everyone could probably wager the reasoning behind it. You know what I mean? I bet everybody could wager and figure out exactly what was going on as to why they took away our direct messaging stuff. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out, like, I got 900 windows open here, and two of them are flashing at me. I gotta close those. Getting distracted by the flashing thing that's going on over there. Some kind of alert thing. All right. Oops. Now we lost the broadcasting page. Oh, there it is. It's over here. Okay. Now we can double check and make sure things are working. So there's one of the winners. Then I'm pointing the wrong direction. Let's go like this. And then there'll be another winner. There'll be another winner later. And we'll pop that up in just a minute. Let's see. So we're 25 minutes in. We should talk a little bit about this last weekend. So we went all the way down to Eugene, Oregon, and back. We went down for the Willamette Valley 1-year anniversary, which was a lot of fun. Cool meeting, potluck, all that good stuff. Definitely got to hook up with the smoked deviled eggs. Thank you very much. Byron hooked those up, and his lovely wife. I'm going to be honest with you, I just forgot her name. Yep, that's gone. I forgot. But lovely smoked deviled eggs. Big spread on the potluck. Let's see. Erica brought a bunch of goat cheese. I got to eat some goat cheese. Right? We got some delicious goat cheese, a few other things. But we basically left here at like 6:30 in the morning. We left here at like 6:30 in the morning, drove all the way down there, which is like, it's like 4.5 hours drive, couple of pit stops, and about 5 hours driving nonstop. Drove down to Eugene, got down there, kind of tooled around the town a little bit, saw some of the sites in Eugene, which are fairly limited. They're sort of nature sites, you know what I mean? Like, oh, check out that river. There's some pretty trees over here. There's some running trails and stuff. Obviously, there's there is a college there, but a college isn't all that important. But it was definitely worth the trip, for sure. And we had a lot of fun. Went down there to that. And what else did we do? We obviously ate some food and stuff like that. That was fun. Then we went to Aqua Serene, and Vicky bought the most giant piece of driftwood you ever seen. So that'll be going into a tank at some point in time. I would love to say that I had time today and tomorrow and the next couple of days, but I'm working flat out till Friday. So, and I don't think I'm going to have time to do it on Friday. But big giant piece of driftwood, which I'm pretty excited to mess around with. Last time I was down there, I bought a giant piece of driftwood. So this one is the other one. So now I have two of them to scape the 240 with, which there's a work in progress to start breaking down the 240. Definitely changing the scape and just redoing that whole tank, because the only fish that I really have in there now is just the remaining rummy nose tetras that I can't catch. They're like impossible to catch. So we'll see what happens. I'll catch them once I can drain the tank. Let's see, who else is in there? There's like 2 Apistos in there, which they can come out. I have a new tank for them. The bristlenose plecos are in there. All the parents are in there. So I'm definitely going to move 1 pair of the parents to a different tank, and then I'm probably going to sell the other pair of parents. Or maybe I'll keep like 1 male and 2 females, and maybe I'll sell one of the males. I don't know. But worst case scenario, I got homes for everybody in there. It's not going to be a big deal, but it's just sort of at the point now where I want to change that tank around, take care of some different fish and whatnot. I might just pull all the rummy nose out and, just allow the aquarium co-op to resell those. Basically just, donate them to the co-op now that they're all grown and huge. And see if somebody can handle the giant rummy nose tetras. They're all fat and crazy. They're good looking fish, though, I tell you. Okay, so that's our first giveaway person. Let's go to the other one, but I got to make sure that it's the right size. Whoop, here we go. And like I said, the other, whoops. Whoop. What's going on here? Ah! I can't get the size to go right without grabbing the wrong thing. There we go. And then here is the other winner of our drawing and whatnot. 2 care boxes going out. And some people had asked me, they're like, why didn't you do a big promotion because of your giveaway? You could have done a big promotion for the giveaway, and I'm like, yeah, I could have done a big promotion for the giveaway, and I'm not arguing against that if people like to do that. But I feel like if I do a video that's like, hey guys, what's up? Smash the subscribe, hit the bell, the notification bell, guys. Oh my god, we're doing a giveaway. It's gonna be insane. Oh my god, insane. I don't know. That doesn't feel right. So I felt like, doing a giveaway of a bunch of stuff that I have accumulated, bunch of sticks and plants and some other stuff that I got saved up here, along with some supplies and some other things that have been donated to me from companies and stuff like that. And I'd love to pass those on. And so from time to time, I just drop that into the show, and people that actually just watch the show get an opportunity to get some stuff. I'm never critical of people if they're like, hey, I just passively watch every once in a while and blah blah blah, or maybe they only watch the short videos that I put up and stuff like that. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. But I feel like a lot of the people that are here in the chat, being around a lot, those are the people that should get an opportunity to win something, and I wish I could do it like it was, a members only giveaway or something like that. But apparently you can't do that because people will report you to the Attorney General's office. They'll get on the internet and report you to the Attorney General's office, and then you will have to deal with the potential crimes that could have happened. You're just trying to give some stuff away. Which is nonsense, but hey, that's the world of the internet. That's the world of the internet where some people get their feelings hurt from stuff that doesn't have anything to do with them. And then they decide, like, I'm going to report you to the police. Which, yeah, it's a real drag. It's a real drag that those people exist, but yeah, it's the world we live in. So it was open to anybody. You could have left a comment on that specific video. Shelby Ray won and HDJC won. So those are our 2 winners. Shoot me an email with your address, and then I'll be able to address it to you instead of just throwing it off a bridge and hoping that it gets to you via the waterway. Like ancient Rome. I'll send you in a letter. 3-gallon stocking. Any nano species that would work. For fish, yeah, I mean, there's some tiny rasboras, like chili rasboras generally would be fine. Drawing a blank right now, like the baddest, those would be fine. There's some small fish that can tolerate it, but I'm 3 gallons is pretty small. Just really depends on how much you're going to be able to take care of it and stuff like that. I wouldn't set myself up for stocking a tank with any kind of fish, but I would certainly do some cherry shrimp or maybe some ghost shrimp or something like that. I would go those routes because that seems pretty most reasonable to me to be able to maintain it. Because you could literally keep a bunch of fish in a 1-gallon tank if you were doing a water change like all the time. You'd be able to keep good clean water and that kind of stuff. So that shouldn't be a problem. But the reality is like when the maintenance falls onto the person that's maintaining it, that's really the issue. That's really the problem that you encounter with running a small tank like that. Because the tiny tank like that, you could have it sitting and everything is fine. And if, let's say, a half-gallon of water evaporates out of it one day because it just happens to be pretty warm out. Humidity's pretty low, so it's grabbing. It's evaporating pretty quickly. Like out of a 3-gallon tank, a half a gallon is 1/6 of the water, right? I think that's right. So 17%. 17% of the water is compounded down in because the 17% is missing, and none of the toxins are going to evaporate from the aquarium. So ammonia, nitrite, any of that kind of stuff that you could have going on will get compounded into the tank. Also salts, GH and KH will go up, a lot because all the salts and everything are going to compound into the tank. So your pH is probably going to flux, all that kind of stuff. So I just would literally set it up with, I would set it up with the intention that you're going to be a bad fish keeper, right? Not that you are a bad fish keeper or anybody is. I would set it up under the impression that you're a bad fish keeper and you want to set that up for the most success that you could do. While that sounds weird, it's more of the theory that, like, at the times where you're most distracted or, super busy with work, maybe you have a baby, maybe one of your relatives gets sick, maybe you get in a car crash, I don't know. Tons of stuff comes up in life where you're not able to do something directly with your fish tank, and it ends up sitting there for an extra 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that. And the reality is, like, if you leave some plants in there and they die because you neglect them or whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But it does hit me a bit if, it affects me quite a bit when some things happen and then a bunch of fish die and there's really no bringing them back or anything like that. Once they're dead, they're dead. So I try to set myself up for success. And it's also one of the reasons I don't do nano tanks anymore. It's not that I can't do them. I know a lot of people are like, well, you probably just can't do them anymore. Like, of course I could do them. Just the downside is maintaining all of those water changes and all that stuff on a regular basis. So I feel like there'd be no barrier if you had automatic water changes. So if you had an automatic water changing system, you could almost put anything that would be reasonably sized to that tank, any kind of nanos or anything like that. If as long as it would fit well and had enough swimming area and everything, I think you'd be fine. But that's why I'm not doing any nano tanks until I can get an automated water changing system in place, and then I can just plumb into those and do it that route. So I'm realistically not super enthusiastic about doing nanos right now because of that. Like, I just don't have that that together. Fisheye on Tactics says, "Oh, is that baby? Yeah, that's Olivia. She's in the. I put her up in the corner because I try to get you guys used to her because eventually she's gonna be on the show. So, you know, you guys have a good introduction to the juice there." Oh, OJ. Yeah. Oh, there's Byron. He's working late today. Catch up on the replay. Good to see me on Saturday. Thank you very much for the deviled eggs, the food, the hospitality. Hopefully I'll be going to Byron's house soon to do some filming, check out some of his tanks, do a little bit of an interview. I did film some tanks. I did a little bit of interview, did some filming at Aqua Serene, where they have all their pond stuff is open right now. They have all their ponds and koi stuff and that kind of stuff going on right now. So I filmed a bunch of that stuff. I also did an interview / filmed some of the tanks of Aquascapes OR, which is Aquascapes Oregon, essentially. His name is Andrew. So we're going to have a video focused for that coming out, plus some of the pond stuff coming out. Pretty fun little trip, but we turned around, got up at 6 in the morning, or 5 in the morning. I got up at 5, Vicky got up at 6, and then we left Oregon to come back up north. We had to be back here by like 11:30 so Vicky could go to some kind of committee meeting, fancy person meeting or whatever. If I'm being honest with you guys, I would have straight up slept in on Sunday and been like, what time is checkout? Oh, we have to check out by 2 p.m. Okay, we will be checking out at 1:55 and I'll drive home. But you know, that's the thing. We had to stay. We didn't have to stay. We had to be back here by 11:30, and I will say, I made it. I was all like, driving, ride, and then we were back here, and that was many more hours behind the wheel. But we'll be headed back to Oregon fairly soon. We got some people down there to visit. I got to go down and do some filming with Aqua Pros. Hopefully do some filming over at Byron's place. Probably do some filming at Erica's place also. She's got goats and also bought Dennis Wong's tank from the Aquarium Gardeners Association that Dennis escaped at the AGA, which was a lot of fun. And I'm super stoked that she bought it because she's actually close enough to go check it out. I want to see how well it grew in. And if it grew in well, and if she's taking care of it, and if it's as nice as we all think that it should be, it probably is, I would guess. That would be my guess. So, I did get an email, but it's from Artlist and not either of our winners. So, let's go to the video. I forget who was asking about Alternanthera renekii, but there is some in this video, so we can, but I forgot to, there we go. I had to make it repeat. Oh my god, I didn't even realize I had this reflection in the video right here. Oh, that is awful. Sorry, guys. I let you down. Let's see, I wonder if I can get rid of it. Here we go. And there we go. We got the reflections gone. Looks pretty good to me. Looks like we don't have any reflection from the camera there. All right. Oh, I'm giving everybody a hard time. I just tried to play around with the brightness. It didn't work. Anyhow, so, all right. Today's video is brought to you by the letter green. There we go. Does that make sense? I wonder how if my baby's going to be insane because I'm a nut. I'm a nutter, right? All right, there we go. Let me move me up here so you guys can get a better look at what's happening, and we're good to go. All right, so today's video, you guys will notice that I'm going through and I'm doing a lot of trimming. And one of the big reasons I'm doing a lot of trimming is this tank is 150 gallons of collectoritis. I definitely have a ton of different types of plants in here, and I have to do a lot of trimming on a regular basis. You guys know that. And this Alternanthera renekii over here on the left-hand side, let me engage my arrow so I can put an arrow around while I'm talking. So this is the Alternanthera renekii. That is actually the mini version. But as you can see, I've allowed it to grow for so long that now it's getting leggy and growing super tall. So one of the things that I think a lot of people miss out with Alternanthera renekii is that its bottom leaves down here will grow some algae on them. Those leaves stay around for such a long time that they just eventually will grow some algae on them. And what you need to do with this plant is actually pull the whole thing out. As you can see here in the video, I am pulling them all the way out. You know, a lot of people think that if you just pull the whole plant out, it's just gonna die. That is not the case. It is fine. This is 100% how things need to be planted and replanted in order to get them to grow and prosper the way that you want them to grow. It's part of, it's just part of the plant growing technique. It's not that far out there. It is very common, and it's something I always have to remind myself to do from time to time, because probably 1 to 2 trimmings and stuff like that, you can get a plant to generally push and re-sprout. But once you start getting to the point where you're on your 3rd trimming and stuff like that, which this Pogostemon over here is pretty much getting to that. You can see how we've got extra roots down here. There's kind of like a root ball behind this flamingo crypt that's right here. You're just starting to get a lot of aerial roots and things going on that just end up being aesthetically wrong, and also long-term care is also wrong. Eventually you'll get like root bound, and the roots will get all bound up down in there and basically just start adding too much to the substrate and starting to compact it, which is not going to allow for the proper exchange that we want, especially when we're talking about aquatic plants, aquatic soils. Aquatic soils are a huge factor to what we're doing, and they're a huge part of what we do, and they're a huge part of being able to maintain success. And in a long-term scape, this is what you need to do. You need to pull up all of the rooted plants, trim the tops off. These little scissor kind of deals I got here. Trim the tops off and then replant those tops. So on the Alternanthera renekii, the mini version, I normally save about 3.5 to 4 inches, right around in that range. So right around this deal right here. And then I replant those tops, and all of those bottoms now, I'll either send those to the compost. I'll either, compost them in our compost, or maybe even feed them to the chickens, that kind of stuff, which makes people mad, but that's reality. So I'll probably get those fed or cleaned up that way, or I will float them in a sump, allow them to kind of re-sprout. But eventually, the base of that plant, the root ball, the bottom part, whatever you want to call it, will eventually start to run out of they will eventually start to run out of an ability to continue re-sprouting. It's going to eventually start to lose its energy, because more often than not, most plants are photosynthesizing from that top portion of the plant. And if you go ahead and trim that off, most plants have a reserve energy in essentially where the roots are and everything. They have a reserve energy that will that it will end up using to resprout itself and start to grow. Once it starts to regrow like that, it's basically using up all of its reserve stuff that's in the tank. And on top of it, while it's having to resprout, it's not photosynthesizing properly because it won't have any leaves grown yet to absorb light in order to start to gather more energy. As it continues to grow, it's gathering more energy, and that sort of gives you a little bit of the ins and outs of what's going on. Now, by pulling all this plant out and replanting the tops, we're going to keep the part that's photosynthesizing, right? Yes, we're going to lose a little bit of the backup energy from the base of the plant, but when we pull all those roots out and everything, it's going to create a nutrient-rich environment for the stump that we plant in there. That little stump that we plant in there has all opportunity to continue photosynthesizing, sprouting some roots, which is not difficult for most plants, right? It's not very difficult for plants to sprout roots. That's also a very easy function for those little bits of a plant. Sprouting roots does not take a ton of their energy, and you start to look at now that little plant is photosynthesizing, it's also going to be able to take in nutrients from the water column and from whatever's going on down into the substrate. So you really, when you start to think of it in terms, you're like, oh, wow, I really gave a lot of opportunity for my plant to continue to succeed before it ends up getting suffocated out, and you're pretty much good to go. Also, some substrate, and pretty much every substrate out there does need to be, it does need to be stirred a little bit. It's not like, oh, I need to make crazy chocolate milk in my tank and do anything nutty like that, but it does need to be stirred a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys have seen, I think the easiest way to describe it would be like a baseball diamond that has not been maintained, or maybe you're in Australia and you don't know what baseball is, but like a cricket field. What is a cricket field? Hold on. What's that called? It's probably like a pitch or something. Cricket is play... What? Oh, it is a pitch. The cricket pitch consists of central strip of cricket field between the wickets, 22 yards long and 10 feet wide. Wow, it incorporates yards and feet. Oh, that's very confusing. Excuse me. I had to take a little drink there and figure out something that we were talking about. So, a cricket pitch or a baseball diamond that has not been maintained, and people have just been running on it a lot, and eventually starts to pack down. And all that packed down area, really, you'll notice that all that packed down area and stuff like that, plants just don't have a tendency to grow, and a lot of that has to do with that they're, the roots and the soil getting packed down. It just really does not allow for a really beneficial environment for plants to grow in. So, we are looking for a little bit of a topsoil kind of situation here, like to allow a little bit of aeration and things like that to get back into the soil that's in here. I have ADA Amazonia, I have Fluval stratum, and a couple other things mixed in, but those are definitely the main ones. So what people would consider a professional aquascaping soil is in here. So definitely go with that substrate and keep going that route. Ricardo Santiago says, how would you gravel vac the substrate with a lot of plants in it, like in my 55 gallon? This is an easy answer. It's so much easier than you think. Oh, I hate this keyboard. Nails. There we go. This keyboard is the worst. Malaysian trumpet snails are going to be your best friend as far as running a planted aquarium long term where you're not doing this constantly. Now, somebody asked me a while ago, like, and I'm not making fun of Ricardo here or anything like that, so don't take it that way. But I had the same question asked to me on numerous occasions where it's like, well, what do I do with the substrate if I have a lot of plants in it? And I always give them their directions to go look at Tom Barr's aquarium, right? So that thing has tons and tons of different varieties of plants in it, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. And this is what he does. This is his method to keeping that tank looking like a postcard. It's like somebody, made something that's fake to take a picture of it for a postcard. And I can verify I've seen the dang thing in person, and it just looks that good. He just trims the tops and replants them, and always pulls the root out. That's the guy that I talked to many years ago when I was really wondering what was going on with some of my older tanks. And this is the path that he put me down many years ago, and made me realize how accurate and correct he was when it was like, oh yeah, that worked big time. I'm not saying it's immediate, but the turnaround is quick enough that you realistically go, oh yeah, okay, it's definitely working. There's Friday Fish Facts. What's up? It says Malaysian trumpet snail's my favorite snail. Yeah, they're definitely my favorite. That's definitely my favorite snail too, and it definitely helps out with keeping the substrate stirred up a little bit. I typically don't gravel vac, mainly just because I don't find the benefit in a planted aquarium. I find gravel vacuuming with fish only aquariums is awesome and totally helpful. But like a heavily planted aquarium like this, I feel like the downsides to gravel vacuuming the downsides are more than the upsides for gravel vacuuming. I feel like add some more plants. You could stir up the substrate a little bit, and if you have particulate filtration, picking up a lot of that particulate, a bunch of that's going to get removed that way. That's probably the only thing that I realistically ever remove from my planted aquariums would be, that filter floss material that I buy by the roll. I buy a big roll of it. And, that's pretty much the only thing that I ever really take out other than plant matter and stuff like that. So I do take a fair bit of plant matter out. I have a lot of trimming to do constantly, and consistently. I have a lot of plants to trim and pull out and stuff like that. But that's pretty much the only things that I ever really take out of my aquariums is plant trimmings and that particulate. What do you call that? That fine filter floss. There we go. That filter floss material that I get, I buy by the roll, and that just kind of means, that's the main reason for even doing that. Rochelle is asking where to buy them at the co-op. You can buy Malaysian trumpet snails at just about any fish store. If you're lucky, the fish store doesn't want them. Whatever fish store you go to, if you're lucky, they might just think that they're pests and they won't sell them to you. So you could probably, if you happen upon that, because back in the day, I used to go to the fish store. It was owned by this guy, Dan, and they didn't want them a long time ago. They didn't really know. They just thought that they were pest snails. And so you could have bought as many as you wanted for like $1. Nowadays they're a little more expensive at like 20 cents a piece or 10 cents a piece or something like that. But if they're 20 cents a piece, you're probably not going to spend more than $5 on enough to get them to start breeding and stuff. And they'll definitely breed. You probably won't know that they're breeding because they're generally a nocturnal snail. So if you drop in a chunk of a snail pellet or something like that at night, if you drop it in there, a nice sinking pellet of some kind, and the lights are all out, you will definitely get more of an idea of how many of them you have, because they'll come out from the substrate, and like I said, because they're nocturnal, they generally are going to be coming out at night, and that's going to be the real spot for them. Or that's going to be the real way to figure out if they're breeding, how many you got, what's going on, and yeah. That'd be the way to do it. I don't know where you could get them online, but you can definitely get them in store at lots and lots of places. They're not that rare. New Mexico Aquatics, do you consider fluval stratum to be an inert substrate? Fluval stratum's not inert, honestly. There's a lot that goes into making fluval stratum, just the same as, ADA Amazonia, SL Aquatic substrate. What is that? SL? There's a bunch of other ones too. The one thing that I would argue is that a lot of the companies all have these substrates being made at the same factory and being put into a different bag. So, but it is not inert. I wouldn't consider it inert. Inert would be more like river rocks and stuff. That'd be kind of what you're dealing with, some pea gravel and things like that. And pea gravel would work, but I'm just not excited by it because you really can only fertilize the water column, and that's really not my goal. You know what I mean? It's just to be just only fertilizing the water column. Although it is possible to run a tank that way. I find my results to be lesser that way, so I try to go with what works best for me. Peppercini 808 says you were looking at Purple Flame Sword. Yeah, the Purple Flame Sword always just kind of peeks around in these videos, and people are always asking me about it. And the Purple Flame Sword is really cool. It's just not all about propagating. Its old leaves eventually do grow a little bit of BBA on them. I'm thinking I might have to move it to another tank because it's like sort of happy in this tank, but I might end up moving it to another tank just to see if I can get better results from a slightly different setup. Temperature a little bit different, water quality a little bit different, size. Maybe the lights are stronger. We'll see what's up. I'm almost to the point where I'm gonna move it. I haven't fully set my mind to it whether I'm going to do it or not, but it's definitely been going through my mind. That's for sure. UG Aquatics have two Viva Grow lights on it now. They're Phoenix 24/7 ripoff, but they actually have good par rating from what I've read. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, and have some pretty decent success. I've never tried the Viva Grow lights myself. Laterite, Scott. Laterite, what was Scott asking? If you want red plants to grow, I'm your huckleberry. I'll be your huckleberry. Yeah, laterite is definitely helpful with red plants, that is for sure. The easier way to go about it would be easy green and easy iron. That definitely is going to work pretty well. Uv Deloriac says, what about cycled gravel as a substrate? You can do cycled gravel. Yeah, I would prefer a rougher gravel if you can with your plants and stuff like that. I've definitely done it a lot of times with rougher inert gravel in aquaponics and things. It certainly is possible. I would want if I was going to go like 100% inert substrate, I would want to go with some bigger stuff that won't clog up as much as what you would normally see out there. So like, a lot of people use blasting sand, and you can, but just long-term sand isn't going to be good. It's going to compact and really stifle off your plants, and they'll end up dying from that. You can definitely use pea gravel and things. I would just be looking for something slightly bigger than pea gravel, though, just to allow enough things to cycle around, and essentially so you have enough water flow and stuff going around where their roots are and where they're being held by the substrate instead of being fed by the substrate. Substrate's just kind of holding them in place as like a placeholder, and then you're kind of reliant on everything in the water column. But you just want to avoid that compaction down there at the base of the plant, and you'll generally be fine. All right. Whew. Let's see here. All right, so everybody got their notifications turned on. Everybody hit the like button. Shelby Ray Lane, I got your address. She sent me a message on Patreon also. But Shelby Ray, I got your address, HDJC. I don't know. Didn't see HDJC in the chat, even though they won. If I do not hear from them by Friday, I will draw a new. I'll draw a new winner from this video. Yeah, let's do that. So if I don't hear from HDJC by Friday, when I do the next show, I'm going to draw from the comments on this video. And that's how that'll go. So we've got 118 people watching right now. I want to thank everybody for coming out. We don't have any new members today. No new members or super chats. Whoa, super slow Monday. All right, that's no worries. We got Frank Factor, who did a maximum super chat last week, so don't worry about that. We're all good. Although we are in a new month now, so it is June, so I guess we're supposed to up the ante. But I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate everybody's support and all that kind of stuff. Big time, big time. I try to pay it back just a little bit by doing a giveaway. So if we haven't heard by Friday, whatever the comments that are on here, on this video right here, so you were here for the announcement video, and what should the comment be? Actually, the comment can just be anything. Just post a comment down below on this video, not into the chat right now, but as a comment down below, and I'll pick from those if we don't hear from HDJC, because they didn't have an address on their, they didn't have an email on their YouTube channel, so we'll see how it goes. All right, everybody, have a fantastic whatever day it is, and I got some other videos coming out for you this week, so you won't be super bored. Hope we all have fun out there. If I didn't get to your question, your comments, your concerns, or your complaints, or any of that kind of stuff, post that down below also, and I'll let you guys, I'll let you all know what I can, when I can, and when I can be back. Going to be working hard this week because I still got to keep funding this makerspace plan, and you know, I got to keep working on this makerspace plan. We're going to keep going and having a good time. We're going to keep having a good time and try to keep our progress moving ever forward. I'm so happy that we're starting to build even a community bridge in between Oregon and Washington. That's pretty big time. I hope to make it down to Arizona this year. Hope to make it to Montana, a couple other places too. So here's to keeping my fingers crossed, because I think our lovely daughter is she's growing up, and it's not going to be the craziest thing to be gone for a couple of days pretty soon. It's not going to be the worst thing ever. And I do have to admit, big shout out to my mom, aka Grandma, for just being rad. Big thanks to my mom and Vicky's parents too. They're awesome too, but it's not my place to say thanks to them. That's Vicky's place. All right, guys, I'll talk to you all later.